on right now.
Let me start that. There you go.
But I'd like to get started. So Glenn, if you would.
Yeah, let's, so here we go.
Meeting is being recorded.
We'll go here. So welcome everybody. So just kind of like some of the formalities that get these out of the way. Actually, it's probably a good time, but everyone should go put themselves on mute. I'll do that right now. I'll get everybody on mute.
That cost me $10.
Well, but yeah, but what I heard is John's going to pay for all of us today, so it's all good. Let's see, where is my Zoom? Sorry, let's get this going. Participants. Okay, so everybody's muted. Yeah, of course, if you need to talk, raise your hand or unmute. We'll be pretty flexible unless it starts getting abused. When you do speak, just like we were a real House of Delegates meeting, please state your chapter name as well, so we can so we all know where you're coming from. And pretty much, I think everybody else knows how to work Zoom at this point. I think we are probably all Zoom experts. So Mike, I guess any introductory remarks?
I have introductory remarks. It's great to see those of you that are able to make it. I'm sure we'll be picking up people as we go along, but I would like to actually thank some people for coming, particularly our international president has graced us with his presence and will be hanging out for a while. John, I would say to you, if you have at some point in time, you have to leave and we have questions, I would stop wherever we are and let you say a few words or answer questions if we have them. But it's great pleasure to have our international president with us. He's a very busy man, so to take a Friday night like this, along with the other 16 districts that he has under his command, it makes him a very busy person. So thank you, John, for being here. And just like to take this opportunity to recognize the presidents that I saw online. Brian O'Leary is here, and Alan Lamson, Art Lively, Ed Fritzen, of course, and Paul Arnone. I don't know if there's anybody else that came on since I can't see anyone at this point, but thank you, past presidents, for being here.
Mike Klein.
Is Mike here? Okay.
About my carriage queuing that I'm here.
I did not see him come in, but yeah.
Very stealth.
Okay. Yeah, all I can see is myself, so that's why I'm having a little bit of the problem there. So thank you all. And with that, I'm going to switch over to Glenn.
Okay. So yep, before we started the meeting, we had quorum, so it's good. Of the I don't have the exact count, but before the meeting we had 20 members, and we only need 18, so we're good there.
Okay.
So
I have something. Don't
okay.
Fear, Glenn.
Okay.
I have something. I just want to mention that I had an email today from Brendan Mullen, our Vice President of Music and Performance, and he could not be with us tonight. So I do what I always do when I need something done. I immediately called Mike Savard and said, Brandon can't be here. Can you give us a rendition of of O Canada and the national anthem? And Mike Savard said, sure he can. So all we have to do is figure out how to let Mike in, Glenn, so that he can put it up.
Yep, there you go.
So Mike, over to you.
All right. So originally I was just going to sing it as a solo, but I think you actually wanted videos, right? So I got that instead. you, Steve. Now, this next one, the video quality is not great, but the audio is good, and I bet you there's quite a few people on this call that are singing in this video.
All righty. All right, Mike. Who was that?
There was a bunch of Patriot Division barbershoppers singing at the Pawtucket Red Sox in, let me see here, 2007.
I believe I was in there somewhere, but that was a great event that we used to have. It was hosted by Steve Isherwood, who made it a great time for all to be there. Thank you for that, Mike. Thanks for filling in. And we're going to move right along and go to, we did our verification. Now we're into general business. There we go. Changes and additions to the agenda. I don't think we have any that we can't fit in other places. I heard from several people, but we're going to work in those subjects in different places. Unless there's somebody that has some burning desire to raise their hand now and say something. Unmute yourself because I can't see you if that's the case. Otherwise, we'll move right along. Okay. Let's go to the approval of the minutes. Motion to approve the minutes from March 26th House of Delegates meeting. Do I hear a motion to do that?
Brian, did you have something to say?
Need to have a name and a chapter.
Okay, Brian O'Leary, so I moved the motion.
Brian representing Worcester.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool.
And I see we have a second on the chat. Is that okay with you, Glenn, or do you hear it verbally?
Nope, that sounds great.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Any comments or discussion before we vote? Okay. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna say all those in favor say aye, and I can't hear you, so that's good, but let's do it this way. If there's anyone opposed, say nay. Beautiful. Not hearing any nays, we can now move forward. Glenn, back to you.
Okay. Let's see. Can everyone hear me? Let's. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So, a chapter journal. The silver lining is it fits on one page. So I'll just read the names of people who have passed from us since the last. They've not been read at a prior meeting, and then we'll take a few seconds at the end. Tex Dawson, Andy Sulia, Jim Kelly Jr., Paul McDonald, Whitey Platanoga, Rick Muniz, Malcolm Marash, Ian McIntosh, Ronald Messersmith, Bill Mazzola, Steve Leclerc, Jack Dow Jr., and Bill Green. Thanks, everyone. Oops.
Thank you, Glenn. Lot of names with a lot of history on that page. Sad to see them go. Let's move along to Secretary's report. Anything you need to tell us, Glenn?
No, it's we are starting to get some show clearances, which is great. So make sure that you hop on the website and follow all the rules to send me all the show clearances. And looking forward to hopefully a bunch of great shows next year.
Okay. Anyone have anything for Glenn? Question for the secretary? No one needs to know how the member center works because Glenn's an expert.
If you need help, send me an email.
There you go.
And if I can't figure it out, Dave Patterson knows it. So.
There you go. Between the two of you. Okay, John, good to see you online tonight. Thank you for your presence and your report.
Okay, I understand my report just went out recently, so I'll go over it in a little more detail than I might have, and I'll also talk slowly. But basically, the district has done reasonably well throughout the COVID period. Bob Bradley in particular and many others have been able to structure all of our contracts such that we had a clause in there that gave us an out with COVID, so we didn't suffer any deposits lost or anything along those lines. We obviously have not had as many activities as we normally do, and the dues and the donations have continued pretty much as they have in the past up until the time where we decided to waive dues for a year. But the performance to date is what allowed us to do that. So if you look at the profit and loss statement, currently at the end of August, we're about $9,200 in the black. And the only major event that we have left is the district convention. And given the nature of that and the times that we're in, it's a little hard to predict what the outcome of that is going to be financially, but we're in a good position to withhold any losses if we incur them. Again, the income has been primarily from dues and donations, and the expenses have been relatively small. The biggest expenditures were related to the Harmony Explosion camp. And I guess that's all I'll say on that. As far as the balance sheet goes, we are in a position where overall we have $222,000 of assets. The district reserve fund is fully funded at the $100,000 that's required. Almano fund is at $50,000 that's required for that. And then we have a variety of other funds that are in reasonably good shape. So I guess at this point, that's all I'll say, unless there are any questions that anybody has.
Yeah, I just have one quick question. It's Gerald from Cape Breton. The donations, the $6,100, I was just curious, that's a large amount of your revenue. Can you elaborate just a little bit on that?
Yes, the major portion of that is actually passed through from Harmony Foundation and BHS through their donor program. So that's typically in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $5,000 a year. And then we have, on all of our events, we have a donation option. And there are quite a few people who have taken advantage of that and contributed some money in that fashion.
John, I have one quick question for you. I'm not sure it falls under the category of the reports, but I had a question from one of our chapter members who was unable to get online to register and said he sent a check. There is no way for a check for registration to be acknowledged, right? Other than he shows up and his badge is ready, correct?
Well, no, actually, what I will do, I'm not quite sure why he had a problem, but what I will do is go in and register him and have an email sent to him
Okay.
recognizing that registration. I do have the check, but I have not gotten around to actually taking the steps of putting it in Eventbrite yet.
All right. I didn't know if there was that he in fact would realize that there was a receipt of it. Good. Thank you.
Well, if you see him, tell him I do have the check and he's all set.
Okay. Other questions for John having to do with finances in any way?
This is David Patterson, VP for Chapter Support. John, I know you're also the registrar for the Fall Convention. What are the numbers looking like? How many registrations do we have at this point?
Well, as of about a half an hour ago, we had 62 contestants. We have 21 all events. We have 2 Saturday chorus only and 2 Saturday quartet only. And then a number for premium seat upgrades, lunch and dinner and so forth. But it's basically 62 contestants and 25 audience members.
So about normal for the response from NED members?
Oh yes, we're definitely a hockey stick organization. Very slow at the beginning, picks up right around the early bird deadline, and then picks up at the end for those who missed that.
We'll have a chance to talk more about the convention attendees and so forth a little bit later. Any other financial questions for John? Hearing none. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
And let's move to the consent calendar. Any problems or issues that anyone has with any of the reports that were put in?
Yeah, so the way this works is if you want to talk about any of these reports, now I'll mention we have in the agenda talking a lot about contest judging events, but if so especially for the other reports, if you have any questions you want to raise, then you should bring them up now. Otherwise, we'll kind of, to make the meeting go quicker, we'll just close them all and move on. So please raise your hand if you want us to hold any reports for discussion. Okay, I am hearing none, Mike.
Okay. Before we move on too much farther, John, can you answer that chat from an expense for clinician? What is that?
Yeah, I can. I was in the middle of typing a response to the chat, but basically when we hold things like HC&E and Harmony Explosion Camp, the quartets that come in that help teach the youth and who lead the choruses are considered clinicians. In the Harmony Explosion virtual that we had 2 quartets who came in and basically ran some sessions for the people participating in that, and also participated in the singing itself. And lacking a real line item in the budget for that, I classified them as clinicians as they would have been had we been in Worcester physically.
Thank you, John. Ken,
Yep.
does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we're in the process of the consent calendar. I'll take a motion to receive the reports as presented.
So
Worcester
moved.
moves to receive them.
You're gonna state name and chapter? I can't see.
Brian O'Leary, Worcester.
Okay, I'll second that. Gerald Farrell, Sydney, Cape Breton chapter.
It's fine, Joe. Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Let's have a vote. Is there anyone that is saying nay? That'll be the easiest way to do this. Hearing no nays, I presume the rest of us are in favor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all of your people, for reports. I guess there's some good news on there when you see 13M, Ethics Committee, no report. I think that's a good thing. That means we don't have any ethics complaints. All right. Let's move along to, I'm going to actually change the order of things here a little bit. I was waiting for the consent calendar to be approved. And I'm going to take something that's under new business because I'd like to get that out of the way at this point. And that's the nominating committee. And I understand Mike Klein is online. Mike, can you take over for a moment?
Sure, I think I can. So first of all, thank you to the committee, which consisted of Ed Fritzen, Paul Arnone, and Chris Cutler. And some really good work was done. We, for the first time in a while, I'm very proud to say that we actually had to deliberate over candidates because there were so many good ones. And I'd also like to thank all of the returning officers for being willing to serve again. That made our job really easy. And for being good enough that you were worth nominating again too. So the report has our slate that we are recommending to the board, and I believe that has to be approved by the HOD. I think the report's already been approved, but it might make sense to also just make a motion to have the HOD accept the slate, or I don't know if that's better done by Glenn, the secretary, or somebody else.
Mike, just a little change here. You and I had the opportunity to speak yesterday. We have breaking news. The breaking news is that when this report was submitted 30 days in advance of this meeting, which it had to be, you'll notice that the music and performance vice president has in parentheses pending. And we now have a person for that, even though it's not 30 days out. But we can tell you that the person that we're putting on the slate, and I'm not sure if she's here or not. Have we seen, is Amanda here? Don't know, she might be working. Okay. Amanda Pitts, representing our newest chapter, which is Voices United, our newest chorus that we'll be talking about in a few minutes, is going to be the nominee. So Mike, I don't know if the way you want to do that is add that officially to the slate and vote on that, or do it separately.
As long as the House of Delegates is happy with not having Amanda's information in advance, we are definitely happy to nominate her. And just while I have the mic, I'll also say that there is a newer version that was sent to Glenn that I'm sure he'll be putting up later that has the proper title for David Patterson of Vice President Chapter and Support, and it also has the proper chapter for Diane Tortora Brooks as Plattsburgh, New York. And my apologies to both of them for not having that right the first time. So Mike, I think as long as we can move forward with the House of Delegates not having the information, the nomination committee is definitely happy to support Amanda.
Those of you that do not know of Amanda, she is an international champion at Sweet Adelines with the Rising Star program, her quartet Adrenaline. She has been a member of the BHS. She's been a member of Barbershopping about 3/4 of her life, something like that. She's a longtime barbershopper in Sweet Adelines and now BHS. She's also been the webcaster for the society for when the international convention was held. She served as a webcaster, so she's pretty well known around the region. She is a very, very talented young lady, and we are thrilled to have someone of youth on the board being nominated, along with Diane Brooks. So we'll have another female Diane. There you go. So that's a little bit on Amanda. I don't know if this is a little unusual. So if anybody else wants to say anything, feel free. Okay. Hearing nothing, then, as Mike suggested, maybe we should have a motion to elect the slate as presented.
Moved, Alan Lamson.
Second, Stephen Wheaton, South Shore.
I have a motion and a second. And any further discussion on the slate? Okay, we'll go about it the same way. We can all say aye by raising our hand, by saying aye. And if there's a nay, please unmute yourself and say nay. Hearing none, then I say that we are duly elected. So thank you, Mike Klein, for your diligent work. And you might just mention the other members of your committee.
Oh, I did, but I'll do it again because they definitely did great work and were kept me moving. Made my job easy, actually. So Paul Arnone from the Beverly chapter, great past district president. Ed Fritzen, a great, very recent immediate past president of the district, and Chris Cutler from the now Portland chapter, and I believe he's also still a member of Vocal Revolution, and the great base of Greenlight.
Or Green Day.
Or Green Day. I don't think so. And I am about to send to I'll send to Glenn Amanda's nomination papers so that they can be shared at his discretion.
Okay, thank you. And one of the reasons I wanted to do that in this order is because we had several great candidates, believe it or not, for the music vice president. I talked to several myself and to try to figure out what would be best for the district at this point in time. And the other night, I actually had a woman here with Amanda when we were talking about what needed to be done as a music vice president. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, Brandon Mullen had been serving in that capacity and let me know several months ago that his job was changing and he didn't know how long he was going to be able to hang on. But I will tell you that as of today, Brandon has asked to be relieved. His work and his school and lots of things have caught up with him. So as of today, Brandon has resigned from the board of directors. Brandon and Alan Breon, before Brandon, their main job, one of the main jobs of that office is to run Harmony College Northeast. In talking with Amanda, who is a very capable and outgoing person, she felt that wouldn't necessarily be her strongest suit, would be to act as the educator there, although she has done a lot of educational classes and so forth. So I am going to announce at this point in time under new committee appointments that, so if we want to back up, thank you, Glenn. Carol Lee Mensing, who is on the line, has consented to be the dean of Harmony College Northeast next year, working with Amanda. So the two of them working to put the programs together. Carol Lee has a tremendously long resume, a great administrator. Again, a lot of people know Carol Lee from her work. She's been involved with Harmony College Northeast and the Youth Explosion Camp over the years. Can we just get Carol Lee on the screen to say a word, say hello? Go ahead, Carol Lee, just give a speech.
Hello to everyone. Thank you. It's quite an honor. I have a background in education and nursing education and profession. And in talking with Mike and Amanda, it seemed like a very nice move that Amanda and I could work in tandem. So we're very happy, and I'm hoping that we can fulfill the needs of the district with that. I look forward to meeting more of you. I know several of you, and am quite anxious to get going.
Well, you're going to have an opportunity since Brandon has already left the building, as they say. So I will be talking to you and Amanda. He is very willing to give you all the information he has, but we're going to be looking for you to jump right in quicker than January 1st, if possible. So we'll talk about that offline.
Will do. Thank
for
you.
that. Thank you, Carol Lee, for doing that. All right. At this point in time, that's we're going to go to old business. But before we do that, I just want to make sure that our guest, the international president, Don Hauer, is still with us. And maybe, John, if you want to take just a couple minutes just to say hello and tell us good things from the International Board of Directors.
Well, sure. So I just want to mention I have had a kind of a weird day. I did a lot of driving today. I had to get my driver's license. I just moved to Illinois, and so they had to do the new driver's license. It was fun because I asked the clerk at the DMV what I should put down for my hair color, and you know, because there's still some dark in it, and she just kind of glanced up and said white. And she asked me where I had moved from, and then everybody says that DMV people have no sense of humor, but she asked me where I had moved from, and she just said the North Pole, which was, I guess, amusing in its own way. But I had to drive over there, and I was in the car most of today. It was I gauged the length of my car rides by what I want to listen to in my car. Since I was coming on tonight, I listened to the Buffalo Bills, and I listened to Boston Common Anthology. That's about the length of the drive. If I were to go on a much longer drive, I would listen to the champions from my home district, of course. The Central States districts fill out a much longer drive.
Of which no one can remember their names, so it's not important.
Sure. I made it most of the way through I think 3 of the 5 Gas House Gang CDs before I, switched to Vocal Spectrum and Roll Route 4 and
yeah.
Well, hey, I'm just goofing around a little bit here. Mike had asked me to stop in tonight just to say hello. One of the things I like to do when I visit districts that's a little bit different from the international people is, honestly, the reason I like to visit districts is to listen, not really to talk. You find out a lot about what's going on with the districts if you just sit in on their meetings and see how the locals are handling it. Northeastern District is a great district to visit because your leadership is top notch. They always know what's going on with your district. Your P&L sheets. The other districts would kill to have your financial resources, and that comes from good financial management. So I applaud you on that. A couple of things internationally. One of the questions I get quite often is, what is the deal with Pasadena? Whether we're going to have a convention or not, and that is still up in the air until probably early October. I think we have a drop dead date of October 8th or so, when we have to decide if we go past it. There's penalties, so we have to know what we're going to do by then. But as of right now, we're kind of leaning towards having it. It's going to be a little bit different than the normal midwinter. If you haven't been to midwinter, you should, because it is the best week or the best convention I think BHS puts on. I prefer it to international. I just have a terrific week. There is other news in the society going on. Obviously, you probably saw that, unfortunately, the society has refiled a lawsuit in state court against HFI. We have a lot of stuff going on with COVID. Most districts have canceled for the fall. I think Northeastern District is one of, I think, 3 that are left.
Oh, yeah.
Four
4
that are
altogether.
left.
Yeah.
I have every confidence that you're going to put on a very safe show. There's a lot of stuff. If you want to talk, we can talk about. But let's find a different time. So what I'm going to ask you to do is you can either look me up in the Harmonizer, and I love talking to barbershoppers. So look me up in the Harmonizer, send me an email, let's find a time to talk. Or if a lot of you would like to collectively talk about some of the stuff going on with there's a big contest proposal going on, what the internationals are going to look like in the future, the stuff with HFI, the lawsuit. If you would like to have a town hall with me and Northeastern District, just like Mike Manono, and Mike can set something up, and I would be happy to spend an hour or so Zooming with all of you. But as tonight is very much about good news and what's going on with your Northeastern District, let's leave all of that stuff at that. And it's just really nice to see all of you. And if I hadn't mentioned it before, it was just a great honor for me to have been the keynote speaker at your Harmony University Northeast. I had never done that before. It was just loads of fun, and it might actually give me the courage to go out and do a little bit more of that stuff, because honestly, it scares the death out of me to do that, and I knew that you all would be very gentle with me, and you were. So it is really nice to see you. And if you need me for anything, like I said, look in the back of the Harmonizer. I'm right there, and never be afraid to give me a holler. I would suggest, though, send me an email or text me as to who you are before you call, because otherwise I'm just going to assume it's something to do with my credit card or my warranty or my Social Security being revoked. I'm not going to answer the phone if I don't know the number. So wonderful to see you, and thanks for the invitation, Mike.
Thank you, John. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate all you do. It's a never-ending job. I know. I can't imagine multiplying my job by 17 times, but that's in essence what happens. So it's great to have you with us, and we appreciate your time. And definitely, if in all of you out there would like some time with John, I'd be very happy to host that. John and I have had several Zoom calls together. Some of them a little more pleasurable than others, but we always seem to have a good time. He's a wonderful talent. We're lucky to have him. Okay, old business. Moving on to the fall convention in Worcester, or as I say in Canada, Worcester. Anyway, let's move on. Is Bob Bradley online?
I'm here,
There you are.
and it's very interesting. I noticed that John and I have the same barber. And I'm very, it's very nice to see that there's someone else who goes to the same barber I do.
Because you're worth it.
Yes. We go to our semi-annual haircuts, I would imagine. But it's, anyway, we're at Worcester the last weekend in October. I think everyone is aware of that. One of the big questions that I have been asked over the time is coming up, I guess, with Mike Savard after I am. So I won't mention the health and guidelines rules, but otherwise the hotels are holding rooms until the 29th of September. If they have rooms after that, they will hold them if they have openings, but they're holding them now until the 29th of September. So that's coming up relatively soon. Worcester, we're all set to go with Worcester. We have warm-up rooms in Sullivan. I know a lot of you are very familiar with that. We'll be in the Sullivan Auditorium. It seats 1,000 people. We will use as a warm-up, I would imagine, Eager, once we get that squared away. And the number of classrooms, we can have as many as we want in Sullivan. So it'll be nice to have warm-up rooms attached to where we're going to perform. And then I just have one request of the people, of the other members of the House of Delegates. This was done after we decided not to go to Canada. And the idea of doing this and doing this in Worcester came up relatively quickly. We had to find an alternate location. And ergo, we don't really have a host chapter at this point. I do need possibly a couple volunteers from one of the chapters. Wives would be fine, older children would be fine. If you could just email me and let me know if anyone coming, any chapter coming, bringing somebody, if they would like to volunteer. It's not really hard work. We need someone to watch the doors and someone to probably go back and tell choruses and quartets that they're ready. So anyway, that is a request that I'd like to make to everyone at this time. And basically, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. It's been a long time that we haven't gotten together. And if anyone have any questions, ask me now.
Bob, I think anyone that volunteers, Steve Solomon will give them a NED mug from, about the virtual convention in 2020. I mean, it's a collector's item at this point in time. So
I think that's definitely going to encourage a lot of people to volunteer. I may have too many, but always a good problem to have. So please contact me. I mean, my email is easy to get. I mean, it's on the list of the officers for NED, and just like put in the subject thing that, the subject line that volunteers for the convention. I probably need about 4 maybe at this time. The rest of it, the events team, who's there all the time, can cover it.
Bob,
Steve,
it's Paul Arnone here. I'm just wondering, what is the Beverly chapter has supported the idea of the convention right from the get-go. We are still supporting the idea. Howsoever, there's been news coming out of Worcester that have put a few of us on tenterhooks, okay, as to what happens once we send our monies in, and then the chapter decides not to go to the convention. Where are we in that thinking as far as the board?
Not going, that John would be able to answer that better than I if you've already
I
sent
just
in your
didn't know
money.
where to put that.
Excuse me?
John, can you take that question if someone's looking for a refund?
Yeah, I can. I was just taking a little time to unmute here. So the general policy of the district on normal conventions is that tickets are non-refundable. However, even in that, if there's extenuating circumstances, we do allow for some refunds. Somebody has a death in the family, somebody gets sick, we do that on a case-by-case basis. With the convention this year, obviously, if the convention itself is canceled, all tickets will be refunded. If people have a specific extenuating circumstance, even though the convention's going on, we will handle that and treat it accordingly. As far as a whole chapter deciding to not go, I don't know that I've really thought about that, nor have we had any discussions. But if the reason is COVID related, more than likely that would be considered extenuating and we would issue refunds.
Okay, so that I can report that back to the concerned members in the chapter.
I think that's a safe bet at this point, John and Paul, that oh, you put you guys together and you're a pope. I just realized that. John Paul.
Oh dear.
Okay.
So, just to be sure that I am giving the proper information, we will be sending in our registrations. We will be sending in the money. If the chapter sees through the news and through whatever that Worcester is tripled and quadrupled, as I saw last week, as far as cases and whatever else, we as a chapter can then decide that we will not want to take on that thought process of going there, okay? And then, so we can withdraw. Is that it?
I would say without a vote, that at this point, we would certainly consider that extenuating circumstances. And
Okay.
that's a great segue into Mike Savard. And Mike, can you speak to what's going on with the health concerns?
Absolutely. So then this has been the primary topic of conversation at the board meetings in regards to whether or not we're going to have the convention. And the safety of all of our members has been the primary concern of all the board members in all these discussions. The safety precautions that we're taking are well documented on the district website. If you look in the convention information pages, they really come down to two basic things. If you are inside, you will be wearing a mask. There are two exceptions to that. If you are performing and you're in a warm-up room or you're on stage, but anywhere else, we're inside, we will be wearing a mask, and all of the attendees must be vaccinated and must provide proof of vaccination. There are two ways you can provide proof of vaccination. You can provide it ahead of time electronically. We have a Google form, the links to which are also in the information on the webpage. So far, we have already 45 people who have submitted their proof of vaccination through that form, which is a little bit more than half of the people that have registered from what John said. So good response on that, and the system is working well. You can also choose to show that proof of vaccination to the registrars at the table when you arrive at the convention. Just bear in mind that you may be in a longer line to do that, as the people who have provided that proof ahead of time will be in a separate line and will not have to take that extra time. I'm happy to entertain any questions on the protocols or why we chose those.
If I can just add something, Mike. The auditorium for the school, you can't get into the college at this point unless you're vaccinated. Anybody being anywhere on the college campus must wear a mask, and all their students are vaccinated. The auditorium has been redone with the air filtration system entirely, and it meets the standards of whatever COVID protection there is for air handlers. And that has all been completely redone. So I believe, like Mike was saying, we've tried to make this the safest possible, and the college is cooperating completely with us. I mean, I've had conversations with the college as of, I guess this morning was the last conversation I had with them. Also, the hotels have mask mandates when you're any place in the common areas of the hotels. Obviously, in your room, they're not doing anything. They do clean the rooms and disinfect them, and they have the various protocols for cleanliness in the hotels. But I think that we all thought on the board, because of all of the things that the college has done, that this is going to be a very safe venue for us to have. And particularly, we asked a lot of questions about the air filtration system, and we're told that it meets all of the standards that there are. Plus, the people in the auditorium, as Mike said, if you're in the auditorium, you'll be masks. The singers will be more than 20 feet away from anyone else. And in Worcester at this point, it's only the need is only to be 6 feet away from the audience. We will be 20 feet or more away from the audience. So I think, as Mike was saying, I think we've taken every precaution that we possibly can for the safety of our members. This has been our top concern since we canceled going to Canada and decided to have it here in the States. So I think we'll be fine, Paul. At least, I don't want to get sick. I don't think anyone does. And, we just want to protect all our members.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Mike. Arthur, you have a question?
Is that me, I hope?
Yep.
I know that I'm from the Danbury Mad Hatter Chorus in Danbury, Connecticut, and we have a Google Drive folder with copies of the vaccination records of all our members who are going to convention. Can I share that with someone, and if so, whom, and will that be enough? You're the guy. Okay, great.
Yep. I'll send you my email address in the chat, and we'll figure out how to get those connected to our registration list.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move to Alan, and I kind of phrased this in a unusual way, talking about what's a convention format or a contest format, but I want everyone to be aware of how many contests are going on at this one time since we canceled last spring. Alan, take it away.
But first,
I love when Alan talks like that with the mute on, because you know he never
That's-
makes mistakes.
That's my first, that's my first $10.
Okay.
I think that if we had a quartet or chorus in every division, in every category, we would have 104 contests going on, which will be interesting. However, let me just say that what we're doing is, as we did for those of you who were members back in 2015, when we had the fall convention in Burlington, we are holding our regular fall convention, and we are holding the 4 division contests for our stateside chapters. So choruses, quartets that sign up are registering both for their division contests and registering for the district. I will say at this point, and back to John Englander's hockey stick, we're probably about where we usually are. Right now we have 8 choruses signed up. I do know of at least 4 more who will sign up, and we have 16 quartets signed up for the weekend. So if your chorus is planning to sing, or your quartet, and you haven't registered yet, please do me a favor and don't wait until next Wednesday night at 11:59 to sign up. It's open through barberscore.com. We've had a few glitches. We've worked through those as we've gone along with registering. And I will say right now, based on the choruses that have signed up, they have signed up indicating 174 singers. I know of the other 4 choruses that I'm aware of. One of them will be putting 50 people on stage, and they have not registered yet. So we will be well over 200 people on stage for this. The one thing I would encourage all of you guys that are from chapters that aren't competing is we are still holding our VLQ contests at the convention. And so if your chorus doesn't want to come or can't come, and you would like to put a VLQ together, please by all means consider that. We will be giving out division VLQ awards as well as an overall district award. So that's another opportunity for everybody. I will say there will be some changes. You'll see them. I will tell you now, the chorus evaluations will be with the judges and only your music team. That is an SCJC requirement. And your music team is not your entire chorus. So don't start telling us that you got the assistant vice president to the director of the whatever, your music team.
Alan, is there a number that's suggested, like 5 or 6?
Yeah, we're looking at like a half a dozen would be good. Okay. Also, while in the warm-up room, when you're warming up, you don't need a mask. The choruses, we don't want to do any singing evaluations with the choruses because it's just another opportunity to, spread the virus. We also do have the rule, you probably saw it, if in an evaluation, whether it's a chorus or a quartet, if there's any one person in the room who is uncomfortable and wants people to wear masks, that is not negotiable. Everybody will wear a mask. So just let your choruses know that. If anybody's uncomfortable, they don't have to be embarrassed. They just say, I'm not comfortable with 9 of us in the room without masks. Can we please wear masks? And the answer is yes. We do know that the entire judging panel has been vaccinated. That has been cleared by SCJC, and they have proof of all of that. And so I think the big thing right now is to get everybody that's interested signed up by next Wednesday night at midnight. Besides right, what we have now is we have several mixed choruses in it. We have several mixed quartets. I do know that there are at least 2 quartets that are all women who are considering being in the contest. And we also have a mixed youth quartet that is trying to do all 3 things, which is all 4 of them become members of BHS, the quartet become a registered quartet, and sign up for the contest by next Wednesday. So there is a lot of interest, and I think even if you're not singing, I encourage your people to come. As long as they've been vaccinated, they're welcome, and I think it'll be a good contest.
Thank you, Alan. It's a myriad of things going on, so it'll be a lot of fun, actually. And at this point, I would say by the numbers that Alan is giving and the numbers that John has, you know, we might be looking at around that 300 mark, something like that, attendees, maybe a little more. And we have at least one person with experience in that vein. John, were you at Illinois last week, the convention? No, he was not, but Mike Savard was. So Mike, just give a word about how that felt.
I'll tell you what, you don't realize how much you miss something until you get it back. I was at the Illinois convention for the full weekend. We had about 300 people there. Everybody was wearing masks indoors. Everybody was very compliant and safe. But holy cow, when we closed the convention on Saturday night and I heard for the first time in over a year and a half, more than 20 people saying, "Keep the whole world singing." It was goosebumps and tears, and it was an incredible feeling. And I'm really excited for all of you to have that feeling again as well in a few weeks.
Thank you, Mike. All right, we're going to, does anyone have questions for Alan, David, Brian? David first.
Yeah, Alan, just a clarification. A few minutes ago, you said for contestants to sign up through Barber Scores. I thought they wanted us to register through Member Center.
Yeah, well, it's barberscore.com through Member Center.
Okay.
Brian?
Yeah, the mention of the VLQ. I know Worcester hasn't heard about that. Has that been promulgated to a lot of chapters that maybe can't get enough people to compete in the chorus? Know that they could come in as a VLQ.
It was, I'll do it again, but it was, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions for Alan? Okay, moving along to the next subject along the convention line. Ed, you want to say a word about where we are?
Well, as everybody knows, we canceled our 75th anniversary plans, which were going to be done up in St. John this year, and we had to cancel that convention. So we are going to be regrouping. I haven't had much chance to work on this yet, but we will plan, because we were going to plan to go back to St. John. Well, not back, but at least we're going to plan once again.
Seems like we're going back.
Yeah. Well, we will plan once again to go back in St. John. We didn't want to hold a 75th anniversary convention without our Canadian brothers. And the whole idea of going there was to really include them. And so we will reform the committee again, and we'll get back working on it and come up with a whole slate of activities and stuff for next year. So that's about all I have to say about that right now.
Excellent. Any questions to Ed? Okay. The next subject is just to touch base on the spring contest, which we are definitely looking forward to. And Bob, we are all set with 2 cities to go to, right?
Yes, the Eastern contest has been, the Hyannis Convention Center in Cape Cod has held over the Eastern. It's been very nice. They've just taken the contract from a few years ago when we were supposed to be there and rolled it over. Then I believe we canceled that, and then they rolled it over again. So we're there in the early April of 2022. That again is under one roof. In the end of April, the last weekend in April, will be in Queensbury. The Board of Education in Queensbury has just approved us to use the Queensbury High School. I just got word of that this week. Unfortunately, that's been taking a long time. Queensbury is the town right before Lake George. We stay in that area because of the grants that we get for these contests. It's very financially in favor of the district to stay in that area. We get substantial grants on that, thanks to Diane Brooks and myself, who, work on these. It's been very good for us and very lucrative in the past. So we will be in Queensbury, and there's 2 hotels diagonally across the street that we'll be using, and all that information will be coming out as we make final arrangements and get a little bit closer to the date. So we're set for 2022 at this point.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob on the future contests for the divisions? Okay, moving along. The always effervescent and highly talented David Patterson probably has something to say.
You forgot ebullient, but that's okay. If you don't know what that means, you can look it up. Online Leadership Academy 2022 is rolling along. If you'll see in my report, the faculty that we already have in place, and I'm very happy to announce we will be having a class on grant writing. The person that will be delivering that is a lady named Wendy Hassan from Utah. She is the executive director of a very large arts program in Cache Valley, Utah, and she has 28 years experience doing grant writing, which is their life's blood. And she's done some work with Rocky Mountain District and some of their leadership academies. So we are very fortunate to have her. I will be publishing a schedule by the end of next week. If you have anything that you'd like to add, please get in touch with me. Before then, we want to get the schedule in place so that we can start promoting it in late October and get our faculty all lined up and the times all set. So thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
David, you want to take this opportunity to just mention your president's meeting?
Yeah, the NED Chapter Presidents Forum had their second meeting this past Sunday evening. We had 23 chapters represented on the session. Our guest speaker was Aaron Harris from BHF staff, who is the chief program director, I believe. I'm not sure. And she stayed on the call all 2 hours and 8 minutes. She didn't talk all that time, but the first part of the evening, first part of the call, she had was very informative, and we talked about a lot of different things, and it was a very informative session. We did a roundtable of all of the chapter presidents that were attending, or representatives from their chapter. And I think that it provided a lot of information and a lot of insight as to the health and activity of so many of the chapters. And our next meeting tentative date is Friday, December 10th. I'll have more on that later, probably in the early part of October. We're looking for a guest speaker, and as soon as I confirm that, we'll start publishing the date. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Thank you. And that's a good segue in the fact that we're having Leadership Academy. That's not only for new leaders, but ones that have been in positions for years. There's lots to learn, always more information to get. And it's a good opportunity to remind the chapters that are on the line right now that your elections have to be done and finished in just a couple weeks. So don't delay. I believe October 15th is the deadline, I believe,
it
by the
is.
district bylaws. So if you're not well along the way, you should be. So check that out. Okay, any questions for David? On to new business. I put on the agenda international contest discussion because there's been a lot of false information, a lot of rumors, a lot of things going on about the way the international contest might work in the future. And I'll make a simple statement, then you can ask whatever questions you would like. And since we have John on the line with us, John Donhauer is still on the line, he may be able to shed some light if you have a specific question. But let me tell you that at this point in time, as your district president, reporting to the district president's council, we have heard there has been nothing official come out about the international contest. There were some things on Facebook. There were some comments about individuals and proposals that were going around, but I don't officially know of any change at this point. John, do you want to say a word about that, or are we good with that?
Well, sure. Basically, a couple of years ago, when we started looking at Everyone in Harmony, the system that was put in place was that in Cleveland, we were going to have 3 separate categories: mixed, men's, and women's. Each would get an award. Basically, all that's happening right now is that is still the plan, but we are reviewing options. One option is to keep it exactly that way. Another option is to potentially add an overall winner to that. Another option is to not have categories and just an overall winner. Another option is to maybe move some stuff to midwinter. There are just a lot of options on the table, and the society board and the strategic planning committee is working with the AIC and SCJC and the district president's council. And over the next couple of months, we're going to be talking a lot about the different impacts. There's a lot of different variations as what's going on in the districts for contests. For instance, in Central States District, they already have a one contest for all situation that whichever quartet wins, whether they're a women's quartet, a men's quartet, or a mixed quartet, whoever wins is their district champion. They just jumped right to that. We were hoping by now to have a little data, that we could have had some contests by now and see how some of this stuff works. But like anything, don't get your news from social media. When in doubt, I think we're doing better with talking to the district presidents. So if you have questions on stuff like that, reach out to Mike or reach out to one of your district officers, and Mike can reach out, or give us, all of our numbers are in the harmonizer. Reach out to a board member and ask. I just saw a thread on Facebook. I think it's like about 700 replies. And I would say that probably 600 of the replies are nonsense. We're looking at a lot of options as to whether to stick with the plan, go faster, go slower. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is responsible leadership. At every few years, we have to look at what the plan is and whether the plan is still appropriate. Just as you will be looking again at several points in time in the next few weeks about what's going to happen in Northeastern District, we have to look at what's appropriate for midwinter, what's appropriate for the summer. And there are lots and lots of options. So there will be more news coming, but a decision on this stuff isn't going to be made, I think, until December. And lots more information is going to be gathered. And once again, if you have any questions on this, give us a holler. Don't go to Facebook for your news.
No fake news. All right. Anybody have a comment on that? All right. Excellent.
Mike, I'll just add one thing quickly that, Steve Danino, the society EVP, has been a big point of contact for us at the district president's council on this issue, and he really wants to hear opinions. So share reach out to me or Mike, or reach directly out to the society board and share your opinion. They want to hear what everybody has to say about this.
Okay. I put NED convention discussion. I spoke a little bit with Alan about this before the meeting. I'll take my name off and put Alan and see if there's anything else you want to talk about there that we haven't covered already.
Yeah, I don't think so, Mike, unless people have questions.
Okay. There will be probably a good spot to put this. There will be awards given, however, in a different fashion. As Alan mentioned, he was not just coming up with a number when he said 104. That's a real number. Obviously, we could not possibly give all those awards and say, the Hoboken 4 just won the most improved quartet, and the Hoboken 4 stands up in the back of the auditorium and they hug everybody and they shake hands and they come 5 minutes later, they get on the stage and we take pictures. And it would go on for the whole weekend just giving awards. So that will be changed somewhat. Is that correct, Alan?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Okay. Yes. And speaking of awards, Diane has been silent, but I didn't put it on the agenda. But Diane, maybe you want to give everyone a reminder about awards.
I would. It's actually on the reminder under VP of Membership and Outreach. But I would love to, now is perfect to remind everybody and make sure they're aware that if you've won a traveling trophy or plaque, either chorus or quartet, in the 2019 contest, whether it be at Western, Eastern, or the Fall District, they need to be turned in at Worcester so they can be presented to the new winners at our winter fall contest next month. So that's a huge reminder. The other thing I would ask is either a representative from the chapter or quartet to email me and let me know the name of the person that's going to be responsible for turning that trophy in to me in Worcester.
Thank you, Diane. Obviously dusted off after sitting around for a few years in some cases, and properly engraved, all of that, as she mentioned. So bring all of your many trophies to the beautiful downtown Worcester convention.
Mike, Steve Wheaton has his hand up.
He does. I thought that was his elbow. All right.
No, I also put my hand up in the thing.
Oh, I see it now. It blends in with your
Blends in with my decor, right?
Yeah. Go
Anyway,
ahead.
what I would like to find out from Alan is what happens with the like small chorus champion and most improved champion for the quartets and choruses. If we cannot get since we cannot get across the border to go to the contest, what's going to happen with those things in the spring?
That's an excellent question, Steve. We are discussing it. We're discussing that. We're also discussing things like plateau levels. So I think by the time we get to the spring, there will be other alternatives. Because you're right. Right now the operating code requires that that it's a comparison to a chorus or quartet score in the previous year. There is no previous year right now. And we know some of you guys will have trouble getting across the border, and we appreciate that. So we'll work on it.
Not only trouble, we're absolutely not allowed.
Right.
You guys are keeping us out.
I know. I know. Yeah, we're worse than you are, and we're keeping you out. Yeah.
Thank you for keeping us safe.
Right. Thank you, Steve. I'm sure we'll work that out. Okay, nominating committee, we already did. That was the next item on the agenda, so we'll go through that. And now just to officer reports, and you have the list on the agenda. Most of them have put their reports in. I'll go right down the list and just ask each of them if they have anything else to add for the good of all. And starting with Mike Savard, are you good?
I'm good. Nothing to add.
All right. Ed, you all set?
I'm fine, Mike.
Okay. David?
All set.
Alan?
I'm good.
Bob?
I'm good.
Dan Falcone is kind of on the line tonight. He had another commitment, but he's had someone listening. If we needed him or had a question, he would get online, but I don't think we do. Does anyone have a question for Dan? All right, hearing none. Brandon, we've already talked about him not being here. Diane, do you have anything?
I have two quick things. One, just a reminder for everybody of the MC class coming up on Sunday, this Sunday at 7 o'clock. The MC do's and don'ts with Mike Mano, which will be a great class. It's an hour long. Notices have already been sent out to everybody. So if you don't have a notice of remember the link, let me know. But if you do, I hope to see everybody there. The other thing under membership and outreach, just a reminder on the website, there's a listing for chapters, helping chapters. And those are chapters basically giving ideas and thoughts that might be helpful to other chapters in their rebuilding process and getting members and so forth. And I do know of 2-3 chapters that have taken some of the thoughts and the goals of others and kind of reworked it to their own chapter goals and worked from there. So it is working. And I encourage everybody to take a look at it, think about it, and see if we can help each other in this rebuilding process. The other thing that I just learned, there's a chapter in Tennessee that's utilizing over the holiday time, Christmas and so forth, when everybody's doing shopping and so forth, they're taking or using one of the empty stores in a mall and using those for their chapter rehearsals. Everybody will see them. They have signage on the door of who they are. Could leave the door open that says, welcome, come on in, anything like that to help attract potential members and so forth. And I thought that was really something kind of unique to think about. So there are a lot of things that we can share with each other. And I encourage you to do that and check out the website and see what we can come up with for further help to all of us.
Thank you, Diane. For those of you that haven't seen enough of me from the president's meeting last weekend to tonight to next Sunday night, the MC class, I'm sure, John, this will be a great opportunity for you to learn a few things. If you'd like to improve your public speaking, you can come on to the MC class. But there you go.
I think I is good. I mean, pretty much say what I need to say. Do I?
No, I mean, if you just need a little more style, a little more flair in your presentation.
Burma shave.
All right, moving down. Steve Solomon, you've been silent tonight.
I've been pretty quiet. No, I don't have anything in particular. The only thing I want to mention is that we are taking advertising for the program for the convention. So if any of your chapters, quartets, choruses want to put in any kind of an ad, we are open to that.
Excellent.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for your work on the website. It's tremendous. I say that all the time, but can't say it enough.
Thank you.
Scott, you're on the phone, I know. You have anything you want to add? Well, I don't know if he can chime in or not, but does anybody have a question for Scott under Youth in Harmony?
Yeah, nothing I have.
Okay, thank you, Scott. And Brian O'Leary is on the line. I see that there's not a lot of activity in the ethics committee. That's a good thing, right?
Yes, that is correct. Silence is golden in this case.
All right. If anyone ever has questions, Brian is relatively new in that position. However, he has held every other position in the Northeastern District probably twice. So he knows pretty much anything and everything. If you ever have a problem, please contact Brian. And now we're to the point where we just ask if anyone has anything else for the good of the district. Any questions or comments or? Wow, this is great.
I have Doug Joseph from Natick. I have a question. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, I can, and I can see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, really important question. I've known Michael Klein for a long time. And so what happened to all of his hair?
Wow, that is an important question. I think that he lost a bet and just decided to get rid of it. Mike, is that the way it worked? Was he still here?
He is.
No response from Mike. Okay. All right. There, you got to say something, Mike. You got to answer the question.
He forgot to
He
plug
seems
it
to be
in.
trying, but
He's
his
plugging
mic's not
it
working.
in.
Does he owe us $10?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's a really important question that I must respond to, and I should respond with something very humorous, but I don't have anything quickly there. I think a couple years, district president definitely took a whole lot out of there. So Mike, yours is probably going too. You just don't know it yet. How's it going on the back? What do we see?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good so far. Of course,
All right.
I'm only half your age, so you know that.
Right on.
Mike,
here is pretty much useless anyway, so I don't know why you all decide to keep yours. It doesn't.
Mike, just remember, grass doesn't grow on a busy street.
Right on, right on. And Michael Jordan made bald sexy, so I'm all good with that.
David, go ahead. Oh, another $10.
No, I pushed the space bar, but it didn't go silent. It didn't open up. Anyway, in these times of a lot of troubling news as far as the health of chapters, we have on the line a couple representatives from our newest chapter, the Southern New England chapter from Rhode Island. Jamie Jones is their president, who's on the call tonight. They just received their charter and looking forward to having Voices United on stage in Worcester.
I will be making a visit to Voices of United in a couple weeks and getting to hand them something official. So we'll keep you posted on how that works. Jamie, congratulations. Alyssa, you're on the line also.
Alyssa is the co-director.
Hello.
Congratulations. And the district is looking forward to a very exciting thing. John, just so you're filled in with this is a group that's only a couple years old. Most of its history is during the pandemic of not meeting. They had one show, I think, before the pandemic. And now they're looking to put 50 or 60 people on stage, chartering with, Jamie, what did you say, almost 70?
Yes, 70 members, Mike.
70. So that's great. So
well, on behalf of the Barbershop Harmony Society, welcome to the family.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
A mixed course.
Thank you so much.
Well, with Jamie, it has to be mixed. Oh no, what did that mean? I don't know what that means. So.
You're fired, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, need to get Jamie to talk about the quartet that he was in that was famous a number of years ago. With his own relatives. What was the name of the quartet?
It was Jones and Company, but our bass wasn't that good, so we stopped.
That would be me, for those of you that aren't keeping track. And for those of you that don't know, Jamie is the co-host of American Acapella, the radio show and podcast, along with me that we do. And it was nice to see in the live wire that came out this week that American Acapella was recognized. We've been doing it a long, long time. If you want to tune in either tomorrow morning or Sunday evening, We broadcast both times and then as podcast, but we'll be featuring Pentatonics, Power. What's the other one, Jamie? Power.
Power.
No,
You did the
what's-
Ritz. You did the Ritz. We did voice play.
Voice play. That's what I was thinking of. The Ritz is going to be the barbershop presentation. It's their 30th anniversary of winning. So got some cool music going back in the archives to the Ritz and Pentatonics and voice play and a couple other groups. So check that out and welcome Jamie. All right. Anyone else have anything good for the district that they'd like to say? I want Jamie to notice. He asked how long the meeting would be. I told him about an hour and a half. We're going to be right on the button here. I'll tell you that our next House of Delegates meeting is going to be on March 25th. So plenty of time to prepare your questions. And we do have board meetings every month now that we're on Zoom. It's a nice, easy way to get a lot of things done. And our board meeting will be Sunday, October 24th, right before the convention. And then we hope to see you, most of you, in person at Worcester. And we appreciate all of you being here tonight, spending your time with us. John, in particular, thanks to you and being with us through the whole thing and able to take questions and give us some words of wisdom. Thank you very much. Yes, March 2022 is correct on the chat for the next meeting. I thought that was on there, but maybe not. Anyway, anyone, we're good? We would normally sing Keep the Whole World Singing at this point in time, but I didn't ask Mike Savard to provide one of those. So I think we're just going to have to do it as Harold Hill would have told us, using the think system, and just think that we're singing Keep the Whole World Singing. And so hope to see you in Worcester. And we can stay on for a few minutes if the people want to chat. But the meeting, as I decided now, is looking for a motion to adjourn.
Worcester moves to adjourn.
Doug Joseph, Natick, second.
Anyone else? Comments? Hearing all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. I'm happy to stay on for a few minutes if people want to ask questions or say things or tell a joke or whatever.